to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Coach Lorianne. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. Welcome to the show. Always excited to be here. And on Healthy Lifestyle today, we're going to give you some verbal caffeine to light you up with possibilities. And today on the show, we have Regina Huber. Is that right? Did I say it right?
That's right. That's perfect.
Regina is a transformational leadership coach, inspirational speaker, and author. As the CEO of her coaching, speaking, and training business, Transform Your Performance, she drives bold, value-driven leadership. She helps her clients reach their next career goal all the way to the C-suite. Her holistic coaching approach focuses on upgrading her clients' leaderships of self and others so that they can implement their visions while reducing their stress. Regina has an eclectic multicultural background on 5 continents, which includes leadership positions at a global consulting firm and ownership of businesses in Argentina, Brazil, and the US. She is the author of 3 coaching frameworks, the book Speak Up, Stand Out, and Shine, co-authored 3 other books, and has published numerous articles in magazines in the US and Africa. She also has her own TV show. Oh, we have a lot in common, girlfriend. And she has a passion for travel and dance. Welcome to the show, Regina. I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me on, Lorianne. I love the introduction to your show. I feel that spark already, that energy. I love it, and I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, it's so nice to be in a profession where we can inspire others and encourage others to be who they're meant to be. And sometimes we don't see that in ourselves, right? So people like you and I are right here to let you see what other people see in you, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us about your journey. You have you have 5 countries, continents, that you have this multicultural background. Tell us more about you, Regina. I want to know everything about you.
Okay. So this very eclectic and adventurous life that I have had so far and going forward, I guess, started in Germany, and I was literally the shyest kid in town. I grew up in a tiny little village of 9 houses back then on a farm. And, we didn't travel a lot, of course, because I grew up on a farm, and farmers can't always get away so easily. But there has always been this adventurous spirit in the family from my dad's side, and I inherited it. So it was always deep inside of me, despite the shyness. At 19, I ventured to Munich, the next biggest city. Not the next biggest city. There were lots of little towns around us, but the bigger city in the nearer environment, right? I moved there to go to college. From there, a few years later, I moved to Madrid, Spain.
Wow.
It was my first time moving abroad at the age of 26. At 27, I was offered a leadership position in Spain. I was only going to stay a year, but it ended up being 7 years. And I also helped that consulting firm that I worked for open an office in Lisbon, Portugal, as well as Sao Paulo, Brazil. So I had the opportunity to also learn and speak Portuguese, which was really lovely because I love languages. And then from there, I lived in Argentina twice. I lived in Brazil twice. I lived on the west coast of the U.S., on the east coast of the U.S., and in Argentina, Brazil, and the U.S., I've also owned businesses. So it's quite a journey. My business is based in New York City. But the last 3 years, just like you, I love to travel. I travel all the time. I get a lot of value from it. It's very rich to meet other people, other cultures, and all of that. And we learn so much from it. So I have actually spent the last 3 months pretty much nomading around a little bit again. And I'm
in France, right? We're connected with you right in France right now. I'm still in New York, but
yes, I'm at an Airbnb, so I change environments all the time for these things. So
yeah, Airbnb is a brilliant thing. I did that when I went to Australia. It's just a wonderful concept, and you get to meet people, and you're really, you're infused into the culture.
Yeah, and I've done it so often also on the African continent where I've traveled a little bit more in the last few years. And, wherever it's available, and as long as it's more than one night, I think it makes a lot of sense. So I've certainly also lived a lot of challenges along the way, in addition to those great, exciting adventures. But as you know, Lorianne, adversity usually also holds opportunity. So I can definitely say that I've learned some great lessons. And of course, I also learned a bunch through the travel, the moving to other cultures, and meeting people in other cultures, learning how they dance, how they think, and how they live. And I say dance because I love to dance myself. I didn't grow up with dance, but I have always tried to pick up the dances in those different places where I've lived. In Latin America, there's so many different dances there. It's not just salsa, right? There's also the Brazilian dances. There's samba de gafieira. I love that. And in the African countries, currently I do mostly Congolese dancing, so Congolese ndombolo, and I just started Senegalese sabar, which I also find one of the most graceful dances, to call it something. I'm just totally fascinated by it. So yeah, I'm not a professional dancer. I never will be because I didn't grow up with it, but it's my passion.
But the thing about dancing, at least I find this, is most of our communication, majority, I shouldn't say most, majority of our communication is actually nonverbal. So what we say and that's why actions and words equal truth. And so when you talk about dance, that is the best way to be able to express feelings non-verbally. And so I learned so much when I watch dances, and I actually get more emotional when I'm feeling, that the dance, whether I'm watching it or doing it myself. And I'm not one of those gazelles. Really quick story. I used to do plays and stuff like that. I'm a singer. Since I was knee high to a grasshopper, and I was in this play, and I'll never forget it. We were learning a dance, and all of a sudden, they had this real big structure above us. So there were poles holding the structure above us, in the back of the stage. And I'm learning this dance, and all of a sudden you hear this bing, and that was me running into the pole. And so the choreographer was like,
dancing, Lorianne.
I didn't mean to be, but I hit it. I did a turn, bam, right into the dance. So not being aware of my environment was one of the problems there. And so I'll never forget, the choreographer was like, who just hit a pole? And I'm like, sheepishly, I hold my hand up because I have elements of being shy. As you can imagine, like you, we don't appear to be shy, but we do have elements of shyness. And so I put up my hand. She's like, come here, baby, come up here. I'll never forget. Miss Jean was her name. She brings me to the front and she's like, just stay away from the poles. It's too dangerous for you back there. So I'm not the best dancer in the world, but I love it because it really communicates non-verbally, feelings, emotional, and you just feel it through your whole body. Every cell gets involved. Similar to when we're coaching, every cell gets involved when we're making decisions, and we don't even really recognize that or realize that. But before I dive too deep, I really want to back up for a second, because I know you've studied several holistic modalities, myself included. I've done that as well. So I'd like to have our listeners understand and hear, how did these flow into your coaching practices? I know how I've integrated a multitude of modalities into my coaching practices, like herbs and essential oils and AFT and EFT and tapping and all those good, yummy things. And of course, meditation. But let's talk about that.
Yes. For me, it all started with shamanic healing studies. That was back in San Francisco many years ago now. I also did some Reiki with the same shaman that I studied with, but frankly, of Reiki, I've forgotten most of it now because later I was busy still in my job, and then I moved to Argentina soon, and then I studied some other modalities as well that I went deeper with. So that's probably why. First of all, I also did this workshop about rainbow healing. I think it's not as well known maybe as some other modalities. Then body talk. I studied a lot of body talk. I was fascinated with body talk, and I still am, because that's still what I usually turn to the most when I need something for myself. And then also theta healing, quite a few modules of that, EFT that you also mentioned. And yeah, I do love body talk a lot. And
but body talk is what we were just talking about, is our bodies give us messages.
yes.
They're
And
not
that's actually
symptoms,
how that
they're
works a little bit.
messages, right?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of people refer to our, pain we're feeling or things that we're feeling as symptoms. They're not symptoms. They're messages telling us that we're not paying attention. And we need to pay attention. So let's talk a little bit more about body talk, because I love this subject.
Yeah, body talk. So it's absolutely about what you just described, but it's also, or I should say, and it's also not, but it's also, and it's also called body talk because the body talks in terms of the protocol that we follow in body talk. So it gives us answers through the muscle testing.
So so you're doing kinesthetics, right? So give us an example. Give us an example for our listeners.
Yes. So the body talk has a protocol that we go through. So basically we ask what's a priority to be addressed. And that's the whole system is based on that. Plus it has a basic technique that you can actually learn for free on the Body Talk website, which is the oh my gosh, blanking right now, the cortices technique, and it's like it's similar to EFT because it also uses tapping, but in a different way.
Yep.
So cortices technique is something you can learn for free on the Body Talk site, and that's what it's a technique that the founder of Body Talk actually found with the original population in Australia, right? So the Aborigine population, that's as far as I remember this. They had a similar technique and he adapted it because he needed it for himself at the time. And he saw that this did something beneficial to his very serious health condition at the time. And this is how he then built this entire system around it. This tapping comes into all the different phases of the treatment. But first we need to figure out what we need to address. And there are also formula and so on and so forth. It's a very intricate system, actually.
Yeah, and our bodies are very intricate systems. That's why that is an intricate system. But yeah, I encourage everybody to go to Body Talk website and try that, because it's a really good tool to help self-diagnose where you're going, what's going on, and asking those right questions. They can also, of course, go to transformyourperformance.com. That's your website. But before we do that, I really want to go back into the fact that you've written and spoken a lot about energy in the context of business presence. So in your understanding, what's the role of energy and presence? I mean, I'm all about vibration and energy and connecting with people and how that works. And I'm just intrigued at experiencing it as well as observing it. So what's your take on this?
Yeah, so both holistic healing and dance have actually taught me a lot about energy, of course, Also, holistic healing gave me a deep understanding of how the subconscious mind and the subconscious programming works, all the neuroscience knowledge and all of that. And it's the basis for the mindset work, really, because as you know, the deeper we go, the more we can achieve with it. And when we stay on that superficial level, it's just going to be always superficial. But coming back to your question about energy, yes, I talk about specifically a body and energy conscious presence in my work. Of course, as you know, our energy flows into everything we think, we say, and we do. Our attitude, our behavior, our body language. You talked about that before. Even also our nonverbal, all parts of our nonverbal communication as well. It flows into everything. It fuels everything. And that's why it's so important. And yet in business, we don't always talk about it, which I find a little weird.
Yeah, I agree. I so agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So the body and energy conscious presence is actually one of the 4 pillars of a framework that I created, which is called the Powerful Leadership Transformation. Now, the body conscious, I think most people can relate to that really quickly. They might think of Amy Cuddy with her power posing, and how important it is also to be just really fully present in our bodies. and take some maybe deep belly breaths and just become present, because it also helps us focus better. But it has a calming effect, the physiological effect of this, right?